Are you married or in a committed relationship looking for real advice on having love and enriching your relationship? You are in the right place. Welcome to The Couples Expert with Stuart Fensterheim.
Hello, this is Stuart Fensterheim, and welcome to the Couples Expert podcast. While you guys are listening to this, my wife and I are on vacation in New York City. Our plan is to see family, go to the 9/11 Museum, see the culture there, people watch, and I don't know how many of you saw the special on 60 Minutes recently about the subway system in New York, but it's going to be pretty cool to sort of check that out and see all the upgrades that they're doing and just really experience the culture of New York. But more importantly, this is a time for my wife and I to connect emotionally, because that aspect, when we go away, is one of the most valuable things to us. And one of the things that I have to admit that I love on vacations is the increase in the intimacy and sexuality that always happens for us. Why I think that happens is because of all the distractions in our busy lives really get put aside, and we remember why we fell in love to each other and also how much we desire each other, both physically and emotionally. This is a pretty cool thing to say for a couple in our 60s. It's nice to know that we still got it. We begin to appreciate that for the most part, our bodies still work for us, except we do need to talk more about our sexual relationship and our sexual life more than we have before. So when I began to think about going on vacation, and I began to think about this podcast, I realized that something that I can offer you guys, my listeners, my tribe, as they say, is a podcast episode on sexual communication in and outside the bedroom. This podcast episode will discuss effective ways to talk about your sex life inside and outside the bedroom. And there's an incredible difference between those two things. I'm speaking to an audience of couples who are in a committed relationship, who are married or in a long-term relationship, that the commitment is not even a question. You're together for the long haul. What's so fascinating is how difficult this is, that it's amazing that as a couples counselor for over 30 years, I know that there are many issues in a marriage that's difficult to discuss. And I think this issue in particular is one of the more difficult ones. So what I hope for this podcast episode is to make that easier for the two of you. This is not a PG episode, so I do not recommend listening to this in your car with kids in car seats on the way to dropping them off to school, if you know what I mean. You may be a couple that says, oh, our communication is really good. I have had countless couples who swear to me that they are great at communication. And then when we begin to talk about their sex life, when it comes to their sex, there's such a difficulty, and that there's so much that they don't know about each other's needs, what their wants are, their fantasies, their desires, and what each of them define as erotic and a turn-on. That's why I've chosen to do this episode. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because we're going to be talking about communication inside and outside the bedroom about your sex life. So here are some general things I'd like to share about this. First and foremost is stop expecting your partner to read your mind. So many couples have this myth that your partner should know exactly what you need sexually without you having to speak about it. Instead, what I want you to do is begin to express your thoughts, feelings, needs, and wants. And that includes when you like to be intimate, what time of day works best for you, how often you would like to do that, and also begin to talk about whether or not you find your relationship passionate outside the bedroom And does that have an impact on your willingness and desire for your partner? So many couples, as they get older, stop thinking about the fact that you have to court each other. And courting is an essential part of being flirtatious. And that includes the non-sexual touch as well as affection. And unless you're a couple that does a lot of touching, I would recommend and I would suggest that your sexual relationship is likely not going to be as fulfilling as you want. You want to set up scenarios, as many as possible, that will allow the two of you to really be flirting with each other throughout the day. That includes sending some sexy kinds of texts, when you're on the phone with your partner, talking about how you're looking forward to that evening, and making sure that the two of you have times during the week, during the month, during the year, that is strictly about having rituals, that it's about having an emotional connection. Because unless the emotional connection is there, you're not going to have a relationship that is having both of you being very interested in being intimate. Your job as a partner is to keep your partner interested. That means you also have to look the part. Your physical makeup, how you look to your partner. If you're someone that walks around the house in torn t-shirts and sweaty, stained sweats, that is not going to be a turn on for your partner. So I hope that is not how you're going to bed at night. I also hope that the two of you want to look good for your partner, so you buy clothing that fits well. If you have a few pounds on you, that doesn't mean you're unattractive. But what it means is you want to buy clothing that displays your best features. So your partner and you have to have a very open dialogue about attractiveness, about, do I look good for you? Do you need me to go on a diet? Do you need me to do things that will allow you to really look the best for your partner, and they know that you're doing that just for them? So when you're having this dialogue about your wants, needs, and expectations, you also want to talk about those things. Start your sentences when you're talking about your sex life with your partner with the word I. I think it would help me to get turned on if you do this. I think that you need to spend a little bit more time with foreplay, because when we don't touch enough, my body doesn't respond in the way that it needs to. So it would help me to get more turned on by you if you do the following things. And then you need to be specific about what that is. Don't ask questions of your partner that you already know the answers to. So many couples have these interactions that you know exactly what your partner wants and desires, but you're not being direct with it. So instead of asking your partner and saying, do you feel like having sex tonight? Say, I feel like having sex tonight, and I am in the mood, and I hope you are too. You need to let your partner know what you feel, not asking them questions that you already have an answer for, because your partner doesn't want to feel set up in those dialogue. One of the most important things and messages I want to send you is when you want to talk about your sex life, please don't do it around the time that you're hoping to engage in a sexual interaction, because that experience hopefully is precious. The idea there is to send the message that you love and desire your partner. If you're then at the same time wanting them to feel desired, you're going to be talking about the challenges that doesn't turn you on, or the things that you don't like what is going on in the bedroom. Who wants to go there after just feeling like they just got put down? Your job is to talk about this at times and places that are not about being sexual. So ask your partner at the kitchen table if it's okay to talk about some things that you would like to change about your sexual relationship. Make the associations of those dialogues not associated to the intimacy that the two of you are having. Let it be no different than sitting at the kitchen table and talking about planning a social gathering or having a challenge with your finances that you need to talk about. Do this at the kitchen table, on your couch, somewhere that's removed from the place that you generally are intimate with your partner. The other thing you want to do is you want to give your suggestions and instructions of what you want and need, both verbally and non-verbally. What that means is, if you want more touching in certain places of your body, if you like your breasts to be pinched or you like strong strokes, show your partner exactly how you want that done. One of the things that I can say as a man is that there's nothing more, number one, exciting, and number two, fulfilling to have your partner take control of demonstrating to you how they want you to be touched. Because whether you women realize this or not, most men desire to be shown what you want because they want nothing more than to please you and to see you excited sexually. And if you show them verbally and non-verbally, you're hitting both places. Instead of saying softer, please, when you're rubbing my nipples, I really want it soft. Take your partner's hand, put it on your breast, and guide their hand. Do the same thing in other areas of your body. If they are too rough with your clitoris, when you're involved in a sexual interaction, take your partner's hand and demonstrate how you want to be touched there. Do this in all ways, demonstrating all the different things sexually that you wouldn't want. If they're doing something well, if it's working well, if you're feeling turned on by your partner, one of the things you have to do is communicate that, hey, that feels good. And the best way to do that is to demonstrate that in a nonverbal way. Moan, scream, do whatever you need to do that basically says, oh, that feels terrific. Keep doing that. More. I love it. Those kinds of comments are essential to sending a very clear signal, a direct signal to your partner that what they're doing is pleasing you. And both men and women need that kind of feedback. That feedback is essential for keeping going what you want, which is your partner who is dedicated on learning about what turns you on, to having dialogues both in the bedroom and out of the bedroom about the things that please you, to be able to see something in a movie and go, wow, I would like to do that. What do you think about that? To talk at great length about your sex life and the things that are working. And primarily, when you've had a sexual interaction with your partner, not to do a review, but to reevaluate a bit by talking about how was that for you. So many men really blow it when their partner has an orgasm or is having an orgasm and says, how was that? Don't do it at that time. You want to get lost in the experience. You want to be able to consistently have your sexual interaction with your partner be a precious place, a place where both of you can find that it's just allowing that experience to be the best it can be. It's not always going to be fireworks going off, but an interaction on a vulnerable, emotional, sexual way is something that is precious. And don't ruin it by having dialogues of evaluation of whether or not your partner was satisfied. They'll let you know. At other times, once everything is said and done, you can begin to talk about how was that for you? What did you like about what we did? What was it that you wish we would have done more of? What would you wish was different? That's what you want your sexual experiences to be like. Some of you have heard me talk about this before, about how I view sexuality is really about playfulness. If the two of you don't have a relationship that is filled with fun and laughter and just having a good time with your partner, your sex life likely isn't going to be very good. What I really see sexuality in a marriage and a relationship about, it's really about having fun without rules. That we can get naked, we can be dressed, but the idea is to really connect on a physical way. Affection is there, and that we can touch whatever we want to touch, and our partners are receptive to that. And that playing sex games, I think, is a really, really positive thing. And I think there are many ones out there. One of the ones that I recently heard about that I've seen is actually pretty fun. It's called Sexopoly. It's built on the game of Monopoly. And so many, as kids, we played the game Monopoly and we loved it. It is basically those types of things with cards that you get. And these cards will then give you sexual things to do with your partner that will allow you to experience different types of activities that a lot of couples perhaps haven't done before. So that as you're playing this game, as you're throwing the dice and moving around the board, you get to practice sexual experiences with your partner that are going to be ones that for most couples are a turn on. If you go online and Google Sexopoly, and I'll try to find a link for that and put it in my show notes, but take a look. There are many, many different kinds of sex games. One of the more fun things, if your partner and you are willing to do that, is go to an adult shop and look at what games they have there. They probably have a whole variety of them, some for everyone with different tastes. Do those kinds of fun things. Again, sex with your partner has to be seen as an intimate experiences about having fun with your partner and having something quite special with a one individual in the world that loves you more than anybody else. It's true. You don't have to give up on your relationship or settle for feeling lost or as if something is missing. You just need to know how to connect with your partner in a way that allows the two of you to feel loved and appreciated. But the problem is that many couples don't have the tools they need to navigate the ups and downs of a relationship without causing relationship injuries to one another. Yet they wonder what happened to the friendship that you used to share. How did it get from where it was in the beginning of the relationship to where you are now, feeling alone, disappointed, and hurt? And yet, you just can't seem to move forward to be happy again. Thankfully, this problem can be fixed, and that's where the 2 days and 7 conversation Hold Me Tight workshop comes in. Just 2 days, you will understand what you and your partner need to have a relationship where both of you are on the same page, working together to have that close relationship you only once dreamed of. Check it out at www.thecouplesexperts.com. Your relationship deserves the two of you feeling that closeness you once had. There are many women and men who have never masturbated. And one of the messages that I want to talk about is how important that is. The reason that that is important is in communicating to your partner what feels good to you. You have to have a really good concept on what turns you on. If you are someone that has never really spent some time getting to know your own body, there are places that are erotic for you that you're not even aware of. So I am going to give each and every one of you a homework assignment to spend some time just touching yourself. The reason that that's so critical is because you want to be able to, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, to be able to show your partner exactly what feels good to you and how to do that. There are plenty of resources out there that will allow you to help you with this. And what I really think is necessary is for you to spend some time really getting to know your body, getting to know exactly what kind of pressure feels good, what brings you to an orgasm the fastest, how that works, so that you can demonstrate this to your partner. If you are someone that's very uncomfortable doing this, one suggestion that I have had for couples that sometimes works better is to have both of you masturbate in front of the other, or to just sit with your partner and go through getting some exercises such as Masters and Johnson Sensei Focus talks a lot about massage and affection and sexual and non-sexual touch, doing things like that, and begin to get playful with it and allow you and your partner to do this in front of each other if you are a couple that would be comfortable doing this. Obviously, not all couples would be comfortable with this. But I really think that there is a need for a healthy adult sexual relationship to truly be able to share with our partners the knowledge that we have of our bodies. And if we haven't taken the time to really learn our bodies well enough, this is the time to start doing that, so that you can have those experiences. Now, obviously, with masturbation, when we're talking about that, religious and moral beliefs come into play. So if this doesn't fit for you, obviously don't do it. But I think that it's an important part of communicating to our partners what's important. The other thing about the communication inside the bedroom and outside the bedroom, a gift that we give our partner is to communicate your need and to also talk about the times that sometimes we just want to be sensual and just cuddle and not to have an intimate experiences. Sometimes there are men that have a really difficult time imagining when our partners want sex or guessing. We don't want this to be a guessing game. So what we want to do is really communicate very directly about this. There are a lot of women out there that make a huge mistake assuming that when a man wants to have sex, he's only trying to get off or release pent-up tension. What's rather important here, for most men in long-term committed relationship, most men do not, and I'm going to say this again, and as a man I can say this, but I want you to really check with your partner on this one, that most men who are at least in their 40s, are not interested in having quick sex or just oral sex. That it's better for your partner, for you to tell them that you're not in the mood and schedule another time than just be quick and not look like you're enjoying yourself. Make a date with your partner. One of the things that I'm going to highly recommend is, at a minimum, having a general, on average, make a commitment to each other to have sexual relations at a minimum of once or twice a week. And have that be a date. It's not a sex date. It's a date to just be together, to touch each other, and sometime the commitment that you're making is that we're just going to get naked together and see where it goes. The other message I want to send very clearly is to you women out there. If you are someone that feels like what's important here is, in order to have your man feel that he's doing a good job, that you need to fake an orgasm. Please don't ever fake your pleasure or orgasm. The reason that's important is what you want is a relationship that is based on honesty, trust, vulnerability. And if you have the experiences with your partner where you're faking your pleasure, it tells a man that he's doing a good job, and maybe he's not. This may be a relationship that needs a lot of discussion on what is pleasurable. And what you don't want is resentment building up between the two of you, because when there is resentment of not getting your sexual or emotional needs met, that has a huge effect on a woman especially, on your desire to be intimate with your partner. And unresolved feelings in a relationship will just cause resentment, distrust, and hurt. And it's really tough to open up sexually to a partner where that is going on. So when you're needing to have these dialogues with your partner, you need to discuss this, as I said a few minutes ago, not in the bedroom, not at the time that you're going to be intimate with your partner. So I want to give you a step-by-step suggestion on how to do this. So if you're needing to have a conversation with your partner in which there's an area of your sex life that you want to improve, your first step is to start out with your partner telling them how much you care about them. Start with a compliment of some sort and a reassurance of your love for them and how much they turn you on and how attracted you are to them. Once you do that, you want to then begin to talk about the area that is not going so well and deliver the message, again, a clear, direct message that tells them exactly how you would like the changes to go, what exactly isn't working for you, what you would feel would be helpful. So you're then going to talk about, and I highly recommend you only talk about one area. Even if you have a number of areas that need to be discussed, don't do it all at the same time. That's overwhelming for anyone. So you're going to then say, in the future, how I would like you to touch me on my clitoris is the following way. Please use 2 fingers. Don't use your whole hand, and don't rub to the left, to the right, because that friction sometimes hurts me. And you want to be clear with them exactly how you would like that to feel. The next step after giving them that instruction is you want to follow it up with something positive again. Talk about things in your sex life that works really well. We want to then talk about, let's try this next time, and then could we talk about it again in a week or 2? And then you want to follow up the dialogue with a very clear discussion about how much you love being intimate with them. And that this is not about not being happy sexually, it's about wanting to make it better. So really clear discussions about what you want in the bedroom is the essential way. That's why, as I talked earlier, it's so important for you to be able to tell your partner that this is something. Now, here's a rule that I want to highly recommend no one ever does. Do not talk about how it went with other partners. If you've done that already, that's okay. You can't undo that. But don't do a comparison, because each one of us is a different person, and how we have our sexual experiences is about what works for the two of you, not what worked for someone else. And the message here, inside and outside the bedroom, when you have challenges like this, is to talk about this in kind, loving ways, being crystal clear. And as I said, the best way to really improve your sexual relationship is really about showing and telling, talking about that, and then being really positive when things are going well. The other aspect of this is you want to leave the body image discussion not for your sexual relationship. So many people get caught up in really asking questions such as, how does my body turn you on? That's not really what we're worrying about. Instead of worrying about what your body might look like, think about all the awesome things your body does for your partner, how it brings them to climax, how that feels to them when your mouth is on their penis. What does it feel like when your tongue is alongside your partner's clitoris? These types of things that couples do, that's what matters. It's about bringing each other to a pleasurable place and not what do you look like. Because whether you're big, whether you're small, and that also includes penis size, guys. Don't ask your partner, is my penis too small? The idea here, in conclusion, is really making sure that your partner knows that who you are and what you mean to them is so much more important than anything else. And that if you have a relationship with your partner, which is loving, caring, and has you feeling like you're lucky to have your partner in your life, your sex life will be wonderful because who you're making love to is this person. And that the two of you look at your sexual relationship no different than any other challenge in your life, that the two of you can accomplish anything as long as you're doing it together. Take care, and thank you again for joining me on the Couples Expert podcast. We'll see you next time, and as always, please stay connected with me. Take care now.
Thank you for listening. This episode has ended, but your journey continues. Head over to www.thecouplesexperts.com to access all the links and resources mentioned in this episode, as well as bonus content exclusive to podcast listeners. Enjoyed this episode? Why not hit subscribe now and never miss an episode?